deep breath and remember who you are. Yeah, they're gonna mess with you, baby, you're a star. Stepping in the spotlight, you know that it feels like time to put up a fight, honey. Got nothing left to lose, so let's start right now. Everybody want a piece of you. Gotta give them what they want, it's true. You're symphonic, yeah, so iconic. If you didn't know before, now you know. Now you know. Take a big step away from who you were. Flashing that smile and the whole world's a blur.
Yo, what's up? Positively Powerful on a Wednesday. Scott Fitzgerald, Stacey, Steinmiller in the Oasis studio here at Rockbox Recording and Production, Bushnell's Basin, where they're, destroying the building. All for good purpose, though.
Upgrading the building.
Yes, upgrading. Scott. It's all in how you explain it. So we've got a tarp in front of the main doorway, and there's no ceiling in the rest of the building. Although they have forgotten to take our 1992 wallpaper down. They didn't do it because we were recording at the time, so we'll come back, and then they just never came back.
Well, hopefully we can remind them then.
I don't know. It looks like they're just gonna give us that. And we're good to go. So, look at me! I'm down low in the frame. So we're here to jump on this here live stream here to kind of talk about things that people need to hear about. Maybe get them in a better frame of mind, a better state, reframe how they think about things.
Totally.
Right?
Yes.
Which is something I always have to do. Constantly having to reframe the things. All the things.
All the things.
But the one thing that I do that we've talked about, in our group, and other people who have been on podcasts in this very room have talked about, and this is very good for folks with entrepreneurs with their own business and stuff like that, is the idea of having your people.
Yes. Tell me more. Yeah.
Right.
Like your support team.
There's a lot of different versions of your people, right? So there's your people that are supportive to you. There's, that show up for you. You surround yourself with your people who are there. They got your back for all the things like that. But then there's also your people who are your clients,
your best fit, your ideal clients.
Yeah, your avatars for your business, and not even if you have a business that appeals to everyone in the whole world. Not everybody in the whole world is going to be the right fit for you and your business. There are people,
exactly.
And when you come from an abundance mindset and not a mindset of lacking, you believe that there are
enough people, plenty of people.
There's plenty more than enough
exactly.
for everyone.
Yes, that you're not in competition, because when you're really clear and grounded in what you're building and your desire and who your people are, the idea is that we don't have those desires without them not being able to work, without them not happening, right? There's a reason you have this passion and this drive and this desire. And by honoring that and moving forward in that, knowing that there must be more than enough people that would benefit. Otherwise, you wouldn't have the strong fire inside of you to build your thing and do, right? We just don't get that inspiration for no reason.
Yeah, and I've always gone through that sort of back and forth with, and this goes back to me, and a lot of people have this problem with the how. So when you're trying to manifest things, you you say this is going to happen. And you act like it's already happened. It's part of your reality and everything like that.
Yeah.
And what a lot of people get hung up in is the how. Like, well, I don't understand how that's going to happen.
Right.
Like, I'm going to make lots of money. Well, how? I need to see the steps. I need to see what I'm going to be doing to do that. And you don't necessarily always have to know
the details.
the exact details of how that's going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's important to move forward with your vision and follow your nudges. But I think it becomes negative when people get stuck on, I'm not going to do anything until I see how it's all going to play out, right? It's like avoiding step 1 because they have yet to see step 9. And that really gets people stuck from being in a state of action, which is what's going to propel you forward. And they sometimes get stuck in the over planning phase. But there does need to be, we've talked about too of, okay, if your income goal is this, but your offers don't match up where it would be mathematically possible to do that, then we also have to make sure we're putting ourselves in the best position for success as well.
There has to be some sort of reasonability for that. Like, if you're selling, things for 5 cents and you want to make $1 million, and you better have a whole lot of those.
Right.
Up the price.
Exactly. You need to be able to be like, okay, I'm going to be building a massive, producing on mass scale. So I need to have the relationships and the contracts and the so forth to be able to do that. You can't sell something for 5 cents with a small boutique business and expect to hit your income goals. But yeah, so when we talk about not getting hung up on the how, it's more what I've found is when people don't have all the details, they're getting really fixated on something, and it's stopping them from taking the inspired action steps forward in the present moment.
So it's like a roadblock for them.
Yeah.
Because they're hung up on that one piece.
Yeah.
Now, when it comes to, having your people and having that belief that people are going to find you, how much is it you finding the people and how much is it them finding you?
That's a good question. And I think it's all about what's in alignment with building your business and how you want it to go. And that's where it's really tuning in with yourself and where that inspiration is and where you see yourself. So if you want people to come to you, then it is okay, well, what is that pathway that I want to build to invite people in? How do I want people to experience me? How do I want to get my message out there? And there's so many different ways that we can do it. And I don't think there's a wrong way. It's what's in alignment with where you're feeling pulled. Now, with that said, I also think it's important that oftentimes the things that we're avoiding, that we have oh my God, I don't ever want to do that, is usually an area of resistance and an area of growth that we can move towards. So it's important to recognize where am I in avoidance with these goals as well, because oftentimes when we face our fears and our resistances, that's when, things start really opening up for us. So if you're having a strong aversion to something, I would be curious as to why that is. Is
it something that you honestly don't like that is in alignment with you, or is it something that you're afraid of because for whatever reason?
Right. Yeah. So that's where the fun stuff comes in. Yeah.
Fear.
Yeah.
It sucks.
Right.
I hate fear. Fear really blows, man. But there's so many things when you're in business. Just in general, even if you're not in business, so many things that you can be fearful of that you don't recognize is actually fear. Like when you think of fear, you think, this thing's going to fall on me, or there's a bear chasing me. And it's not necessarily that. It could also be something like, you just aren't sure of yourself and you're not sure that you're going to succeed in that way, which is you might not think of that as fear, but it's definitely a fear-based thing.
Right. There's a fear of rejection, fear of failure, and all of that. So it's like if somebody maybe wants to get a message out there, and a podcast would be a great way to do it, but there's fears of being seen. What if I don't do well? What if people make fun of me? And even sometimes in our brain, the what's happening isn't, the statements aren't even that obvious sometimes. It's just like, well, I don't want to do that because there's like always going to be an excuse. So if you're constantly having an excuse as to why you're not doing something, I would encourage exploration there as well.
Exploration.
Inner exploration.
That's the name of the game.
It is.
But I think a lot of people stop right at that. Mm-hmm. They need a coach or somebody who's going to challenge them to break through that and say, why do you feel that way? Why are you saying that's no good?
Right.
Because if you don't have that person, and you're going back to having your people.
Yes.
If you don't have that person, then how are you ever going to know?
Right.
You could be missing a huge opportunity.
Exactly. Yeah. Which is what I love about it. It helps you to see things in a new way. And when you start to see things in a new way, your opportunities really open up and you move past those inner limitations that you didn't even know you had. You take them as at face value, like a fact. Well, I can't do this because of that, right? So if you're saying the word can't, there's probably a block there, right? So yeah, it's really helpful to have that support. I think I value it, or else I wouldn't.
Right, exactly. Same here.
Yeah,
same here. But that's still going back to years ago reading Think and Grow Rich and Napoleon Hill's concept of the mastermind group, which a lot of people subscribe to, and the idea is that you have people surrounding you who each have their own area of expertise, and he uses the story of Henry Ford, where he says, I think he was someone said he was ignorant, a newspaper said he was ignorant, so he took the newspaper to court, and they were asking him all these questions that you would ask, an eighth grader. It was like about the way the government works, or different things you learned in civics class. And at one point, Henry Ford basically says, I have a row of push buttons on my desk, and when I push one of the buttons, somebody comes and gives me the answer that I'm looking for. Why do I need to bother my brain, clutter up my brain with all that useless information when I have people surrounding me who know the answers to those?
Yeah, it's efficiency, right? So yeah, building your team, scaling, delegating, and that is often hard for a lot of people to do because you're giving up that feeling of control, right? So there's often the ego feels like I need to know all the answers, kind of back to the difficulties with making a first step if you don't know the 10th step, right? It's like I need to know everything. I need to know everything. I have to know to feel safe, to feel sure. And that is a big block, right? Because then if you're building a team and you want to spread out the responsibility and so forth, you have to be okay with hiring people in their expertise and you not needing to know more than them. And that's hard for a lot of people, right? Because then you don't feel in control, because knowledge kind of gives you that feeling, of power and safety, and that's hard to do. So yeah, it's difficult when you have a small business, you have a small team, and let's say that there's somebody on your team who specializes in one thing, and you give that person sole ownership of that one thing, and I still think that it's upon you as a leader to at least familiarize yourself with what that person's doing, and so in the odd case that person is out sick or
goes on vacation or something, you're not like, oh, we're so dependent on this one person that when that person's out, we're screwed. We can't get any of this.
Right. Which is more, having procedures and things written down and so forth can be really great, So it's like, okay, write down your workflow, write down your processes, write down these things so that in those cases that we can step in and do that. Which is important. And I think a lot of us don't naturally think in these ways. We grow up going to school and just here's how you do something, and then you do it, and then you hand it in and you get a grade, right? And then you get a job and somebody says, do this thing, and then you do it, and you basically hand it in and get a paycheck, right? It's a lot of our life experiences don't really foster that creativity and so forth of building and innovation and how we're going to really build and use each other to create something that we couldn't have otherwise done on our own.
Yeah, that's my favorite part of this business is the collaboration that we have here when it's like, I don't know how to do this. All right, let's figure it out.
Yeah.
And we all pitch in and figure out how to do something. And it's like, I don't know. For me, it's so much more of an accomplishment when it's a team effort.
Yeah. It feels so good.
Just me, yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's like the sum is greater, or the whole is greater than the sum of its parts,
Right.
sort of experience. And yeah, so the mastermind is a way for business owners that aren't like working, in the same company together. You have different companies, but it's a way to bring different people together, different experiences, different skill sets, and different knowledge, and work through those limitations together.
As a coach, what were some ways that, like, when you're working on the whole idea of abundance, the abundance mindset, there's plenty of business out there for everyone. What are some of the things that you've heard people say that are, or basically, how do you deal with the people who are having trouble with that
Seeing
concept?
that, yeah, I think. Well, so it's recognizing that it's coming from a belief in lack, and then exploring, seeing the world through that lens, and really recognizing that I see this because I'm seeing from a lens of lack. Like if you were to have glasses with like different color lenses, right? Yeah. So it's like you got like the lack lens on. I think that's really helpful to see first, of knowing, like, I know if I'm not seeing, if I'm not excited, if I'm not feeling innovative and creative and flowing, I know I'm seeing something through a lens of lack, a lens of fear, a lens of attachment to the outcome. And so I think we always say this, so that awareness, right? So that first thing is coming to that awareness. So it's like, okay, and then if we took that lens off, right? So it's like, okay, so if there was no lack, what would I do? What would I say? What would I focus on, right? And then that helps put us back into that innovative, creative energy again, because then now we're creating versus trying to solve a problem. And those are two very different energies.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that I've had in the past, I've had that trouble with seeing that idea, and part of it comes from like this thing I have in my mind where I'm like trying to convince myself I'm a realist. Like, oh, I'm a realist.
Oh, that's a great, ego.
So yeah. So it's like, oh no, this is
just
like
logical.
This is just logical. This is the reality. Like this can't work.
Right.
And
that's self-protection.
Yeah.
And so that's recognizing, like I said, like, so yeah, if you're using the word can't, like, really start to get curious. Like, you can't, you don't want to, there's a fear. What if you did? What would that be like? And sometimes it's getting really honest about how we actually feel. For example, I can remember one time, and I might have talked about this before. I feel like a friend of mine was like giving me a referral, and I was standing in my bedroom and we were texting, and I felt this, I felt a lot of tension in my body and so forth. And I noticed, I was like, there's a part of me that doesn't want this referral. And here I say, I'm growing my business. I'm accepting people, blah, blah, blah. Why? What's going on? And so I had to get really curious about the fears that were running the show.
Was it an intuition thing?
No, it was fear. It was what if I don't do a good job? What if I don't deliver? What if, right? What if I'm not cut out for this? What if I can't do it? And so there's also this real level of honesty that's required, but we can't get to that level if we're not connected with ourselves, right? And if we're not feeling our feelings.
That's a tough one. Because I don't know, it's like the fine line between having self-confidence and the fine line of knowing deep down whether or not you're ready. And if and that whole idea of people say, well, if you're honest with yourself, if you're ready for this or not, if you believe you can do it or not. And then at what point is that your lack of self-confidence or
like a lack of training or expertise or ability?
And it's like some people who go in, full force and they don't have a clue of what they're doing. And they're just like, I'm going to do it. I know how to do it.
Right.
And some of those people end up like accomplishing their goals and some of them fall flat on their face. And it's like that knowing that difference between.
Right. Yeah. And I think there could be am I overcompensating, for something, and being honest and yeah, it's.
I always wrestle with that. Am I being honest with my own shortcomings, or am I lacking self-confidence? And do I deep down know that I can do it, but I'm worried that I might fail?
It's probably more the confidence and fear pieces, because then there's also the thing of knowing if you do get stuck, or if you do find out this is over my head for whatever reason, are you going to be honest about that? Or are you going, then it's okay, well, I need to get more training in this. And then you sign up for it and do it.
Right.
Or you say, I'm after digging into this project, I'm realizing you also need this piece, which I don't do. So luckily I have a great relationship with this other person, and we're going to, bring them in for that piece. And so when you're confident, you're also confident that you'll move through whatever stumbling blocks happen. As you move forward.
And that is a scary scenario that you just and I don't know if I don't, it would be difficult for in your profession to have to like fess up and say, you know what, I'm not really prepared for, or this isn't my expertise. I guess that could come into play. But I'm just thinking, if I were in the middle of a project and it was like, you know what, I just realized I don't know how to do this. Like, oh my gosh.
So then it's like not judgy.
But
the thing is, though, you won't know, and you can't advance your skills, if you just completely avoid that possibility either, right?
But also, there's something to be said about someone who, in that situation, fesses up and says, you know what, I don't know how to do this.
Right. And if you have enough self-love, that isn't that hard to do.
Because I've been in that situation where like people have called me and said, I've got this problem and I've thought, you might know how to fix it. And they would go through the problem. I go, okay. And then they would say, and if you don't know how to fix it, just tell me straight away. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to go in there and bluster my way around and be like, oh, I think I know how to do it. I'm like, I'll tell you if I don't know how to do it or not.
Exactly.
And then maybe I can help you find the people that can know how. Like I get those calls,
the collaboration, the delegating, the this and
Yeah.
the that, which is why it's so important that I don't need to have. I don't need to be the best at everything, but I do need to be self-aware enough to ask for help when I need it, right? And to, if I'm not judging myself by saying I don't know how to do this, then that's really easy. But if I'm judging myself, or if I'm attached to the outcome that if I don't do this, or if I don't know this, it makes me a bad person or stupid or a bad business owner, or that I'm going to fail because of it, that's where you get people lying. And the reason why they lie isn't because they're terrible people. It's because they can't face their own weaknesses.
Their own limitations.
Right.
Yeah.
And so they lie about it.
Yeah.
And try and cover it up when all it took was, I'm in over my head. I can't do this.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, whether it's a lack of skill set or something personal comes up in your life and you realize I need to take some time away.
Right.
And this isn't something that's, I'm able to deliver a promise on right now. And, that's probably missing quite a bit.
Well, I mean, these are deep subjects to briefly glaze over in a half hour.
Yeah, I got a little deep there, but
but there's been times in the past, like throughout my career, where I've made mistakes and I've bitten off more than I can chew, and in every situation, unless I'm forgetting one or two, but I'm pretty sure then in just about every situation, I admit it.
yeah,
And I specifically remember early on in my career, one time we went out to do a shoot, and we didn't come back with all the footage we needed. And instead of making excuses, I just said, "Yeah, I screwed up. I didn't get everything we needed. We have to go back."
Yeah.
And my boss at the time, couldn't say anything.
Right.
He was like, "All right, well
then go do it."
go do it."
Right.
I wasn't trying. Well, this guy did this, and then we got, and then this, and then we got, blah blah blah
The
blah
excuses,
blah.
yeah.
And then that's when it starts into this row, where everyone's shouting at each other. I was like, no, I screwed up. We didn't get everything we need. We got to go back.
Right, because
like,
everything's
okay.
fixable. And I guess that's the other thing, too. For some reason, we often think that, oh, no, it's the end of the world. I didn't get all the footage, right? And
Yeah.
it's really not. Is it maybe annoying? Does it feel time-consuming? Is it embarrassing? Yeah, okay. But is it the end of the world? No. Most things are not the end of the world.
I know those situations can really, really seem like the end of the world.
But then you see looking back that's your mind making it seem like the end of the world. Because was it? No.
I still go back to my favorite advice that I got early on in my Rochester radio career from the great Pat Rivers, who's on Warm 101.3 middays, and he said, "Nobody's gonna die."
Yeah.
When there was dead air on the station, we're playing a song and I didn't hit the button fast enough, and there was 4 seconds of complete silence on the radio, which is a big no-no.
Yeah.
But he's like, "Nobody's gonna die.
Right.
It's just the radio."
Yeah.
And I go back to that advice quite often, and I've actually told him that recently. Last time I saw him, I was like, "You're the advice you gave me," and he was like, "What?" He thought it was very funny, but it's true. That happens a lot when I really think that something's just overwhelming, and I'm like, "Oh my God, the world is gonna explode!" And then I think about it, and I'm like, "All right, no." I'm like, "It's gonna suck.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna deny that. It's gonna suck. You
Right.
might have to eat some crow or
Right.
whatever." But, you're not going to have to go to a funeral because of this.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and you can even frame it more of, well, maybe I'm going to get some footage that I wasn't able to get before for whatever reason. Maybe this is going to work out better for me. Maybe
Right.
something awesome will happen because I have to go back here and do this. And then that's where, you step into everything's working out in my favor. Everything's happening to serve me. This is all, a part of a bigger plan that I don't know enough to to say that I know, right? And then the more we dive into that, then the even less annoyed we are, and maybe the more excited we are, and being okay with it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a heck of an idea to end on for this episode.
You're like, we're gonna end on that idea,
We're gonna end
Stacey,
on
because
that.
I'm just not gonna go there with you.
High note. No, that's having your people around you and making, and trusting that they've got your back and you've got their back. It's just it's a wonderful feeling.
It
It's
is
something that we should all, really embrace as much as possible. Well, Positively Powerful, another half hour of Stacey's brain and my companionship. Radical lifecoach.com, rockfox.com if you want to work with us, either one of us or both of us. Let's do a team thing. I don't know. Figure it out. That would be cool.
Let's do it.
We'll see you next time.
If you didn't know before, now you know.